Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
UFC 301 is history. UFC St. Louis. Derrick Louis versus Rodrigo Nascimento is on deck. So before we jump into the predictions for St. Louis, let's just recap UFC 301 really quick. We also got some breaking news involving Alex Pereira and John Jones. So stay tuned for that in a moment. But first, last night you had Pantoja versus Ulberg. Fight goes 5 rounds. Really could go either way. And here's how it ended up going for the flyweight title. And their numbers kind of held up. Both guys' numbers held up. You know, could go either way in a few areas, but the numbers are really close to what you thought they would be if it goes to a decision, because you're dealing with two guys that have enough fights to where you can look at those stats. And it just comes down to what's more important, the head strikes or the control time. And I think it's the head strikes, but again, it's in Brazil. Won't be surprised with a 48-47 for the champ. And all 3 rounds close that he won. Here we go. God, I hate to see Ulberg get robbed, but we need this fight, man. Please. Please. Here we go. Oh, goodness. Come on. It's unanimous, 48-47. 48-47. 49-46. That's got to be Ulberg. And still, what? Somebody gave him 4 rounds. Are you crazy? But as we said, if he gets 3 rounds, you can't be mad. And it was unanimous. So now Ulberg is going to have to battle 2-3 fights and really work through the division now to get back here. But he does have something to say. Like, look at the numbers. I won on head strikes, but what he's got to do is work on the takedown defense. Not let the guy get 9 takedowns and 8 minutes of control, and then you win the belt. That's the bottom line, because you're better on the feet. And for the first time, it didn't look easy for Pantoja. But he gets to win anyway and retains the flyweight belt. And still, baby, at UFC 301. Yeah, so Pantoja got the job done last night, retained the belt. Jose Aldo beat Jonathan Martinez. We lost on that one. And then you had a big one, man. Who knew that this was going to turn out to be an interesting situation? But you had Anthony Smith versus the undefeated Vitor Petrino. Anthony Smith fighting a Brazilian in Brazil. Check this out. Ooh, Petrino put the head down. Look at this. Anthony Smith getting underneath. Just trying to wall him off against the fence. Ooh. Oh, Anthony Smith's got it. Look at this. Petrino's in trouble. Oh, he taps. He taps, and that's it. Anthony Smith finishes Vitor Petrino in round 1. And the whole crowd is like, not really booing, just, ooh. Ooh. And I think even Anthony Smith is surprised. He's now 38-19, and that keeps him from retiring for sure. And that gives him a ranked opponent next. And Anthony Smith is back in the game, baby. Anthony Smith is back in the game. Big light heavyweight victory by submission over an undefeated Vitor Petrino in front of his home crowd. That's incredible. Big win for him. And that's the way it goes down. Again, light heavyweight division. UFC 301. Highly interesting finish. Anthony Smith, undoubtedly. Well, no, we doubted him. We had Petrino winning. but Anthony Smith got the job done. It's just hard to understand how he did it. But Petrino put himself in a bad position by putting his head down and got caught. And Anthony Smith now, kind of losing and getting ready to bow out, it seems like, has been rejuvenated because now you beat a guy below you, and guess what? You get to fight a guy above you next time out. And here's how it went down last night at 301. 10-3 night, we'll take it. We get the win with Pantoja in the main event, so we're back to 7-8, and we stretch out the wins and losses to 111-75. So now we're really focused on the main event. We've got some cushion now, kind of what we're used to in the overall, but in terms of the main event, 7-8, that's rough. And we look forward to Derrick Louis and Rodrigo Nascimento to try to get back to 8-8. And then let's go on a run, baby. The rest of the way. Let's go on a run. It's going to get serious. So that's what we're hoping for here. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, UFC St. Louis is on deck, right? And there's going to be some big fights at this one. Make no mistake about it. A lot of good fights on this card. But first, let's start with Ferreira and Rebecki to kick this thing off at UFC St. Louis. And then we're going to come back and get into the big three. So stay tuned. In the lightweight division at UFC St. Louis is the best division in the UFC, bar none. You got Diego Ferreira, Brazilian, coming in at 18-5, taking on rising star 19-1 Mateusz Rebecki. Look out. Ferreira 2 inches taller at 5'9". He's 39, getting older, a lot of experience, but slowing down. Rebecki right in his prime at 31. Ferreira has an 8-inch reach advantage. Keep an eye on that. But Rebecki outstrikes his opponent. 5.3 significant strikes per minute to 4.7. And where it's really at is Rebecki lands 4 takedowns every 3 rounds. That's more than 1 per round. So takedown defense for Ferreira is important. 63%, that's average. So he's going to give up a few takedowns, in my opinion, in this fight. Coming off the win over Michael Johnson. Nice, by KO. 2nd round, that's incredible. Lost to Mateusz Gamrot, but great experience there. Gregor Gillespie, more good experience, both 2nd round KOs. And Beneil Dariush, split decision. So the guy is certainly ready for big fights and has the experience. Now, Rebecki beat Roosevelt Roberts submission. KO'd Loic Ruziboev, who many people thought was on the come up. And Nick Fiore beat him by decision. So, I'm a little bit worried, obviously, about Diego Ferreira. I mean, the guy's Brazilian. He's 18-5. He's a really good fighter. He's got decent takedown defense. He strikes better than average. But the bottom line is Mateusz Rebecki's 19-1. How do you go against him? You got to believe he's going to win this fight. He's got to be better than what he was in his last fight. But you expect that from a guy like this. It's right in his prime at 31. He should be climbing the ladder and getting better and better every fight. So you got to bank on that here. I like him to win and get his 20th professional MMA victory to move to 20-1. In my opinion, lightweight division, UFC St. Louis. Yeah, so the first one's down. We got Mateusz Rebecki winning. And I'll just tell you now, we got a lot of dogs picked to win this week, and that doesn't always mean you're going to have the best record, because several of those dogs will probably fall. But here we got Mateusz Rebecki. I like him to win. And hopefully by the time we get to this, we're at least 500, because we feel confident about the final 5 fights. Make no mistake about it. Now, up next, as we creep our way up, we got Alonzo Menifield versus Carlos Ulberg. This is going to be an interesting fight. And there's some good fights up and down this card. Almost better to me than UFC 301. So let's get into this Menifield-Ulberg fight right now. In the light heavyweight division at UFC St. Louis, you got Alonzo Menifield coming in at 15-3, taking on Carlos Ulberg, who comes in at 10-1. Ulberg a slight favorite in this fight. He's 4 inches taller at 6'4". Both guys 204 pounds, right on the money. Menifield's 36, Ulberg 33. Ulberg 1 inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Now Ulberg is going to be much more active than Menifield. 7.3 significant strikes to 3.9. That's considerable. Both guys land less than one takedown over the course of 3 rounds. Menifield, oddly enough, has won 3 of the last 4 fights. I didn't realize this. Decision over Dustin Jacoby, beat Jimmy Crute by submission, and KO'd Misha Cirkunov. Before that, he did lose to Jimmy Crute, but the only loss in the last 4 fights, he came back and avenged that loss. So he's on the come up. Ulberg has beaten everybody in the last 5 fights, right? Dawoon Jung, Ihor Potieria, Nikolai Negumereanu, Tafan Nchukwi, Fabio Cherant. So the guy is on a run. He did lose to Kennedy Nzechukwu 6 fights ago, but that was 3 years ago. So he's certainly better than that now. And I agree with the odds. I think Ulberg should be a slight favorite, especially with the striking ability and everything else being even. Both guys really good takedown defense. So this is going to be a stand-up strike and affair, and that favors Carlos Ulberg. So in my opinion, he wins his fight, might even get to KO. That's going to be the big question. But if not, he wins by decision to move to 11-1, light heavyweight division, UFC St. Louis. And you hope by the time we get here, hopefully we have a winning record, taking all these dogs on this card. But yeah, Carlos Ulberg is going to beat Alonzo Menifield, in my opinion. Now, an intriguing fight as we work our way up. Joaquin Buckley versus Nursulton Ruziboev. And it's interesting because I'm a big Joaquin Buckley fan. So, and I see that up and down this card. Guys I like versus being realistic. And it kind of goes both ways up and down the card, I'll be honest. But let's get into this one right now. In the welterweight division at UFC St. Louis, you got Joaquin Buckley coming in at 18-6, taking on Nursulton Ruziboev. The guy comes in at 34-8. I like this matchup. It's an awkward one. Ruziboev 7 inches taller at 6'5". Buckley just 5'10". Both guys 30 years old. Both guys 76-inch reach. Buckley southpaw, left-handed. Ruziboev right-handed. Okay, interesting. Both guys right around 4 significant strikes per minute, so it's pretty even there in terms of pace and activity. Ruziboev can take the fight to the ground at any time, landing over a takedown per round. Buckley kind of close, one every other round, so he can go to the ground too. He's got a 69% takedown defense, won 3 in a row. Look out over Andre Fialho, Alex Morono, and Vicente Luque. 2 of the last 3 wins too by KO. Interesting. Ruziboev's got more to prove, but he did beat Cedric Dumas in his last fight by KO. And Bruno Ferreira, KO. Oh boy. Ooh, baby. I like this matchup. This is going to be a tough one. Who's the favorite? Buckley is the favorite. 1.5. Ooh wee. This is a tough one. Yeah, Ruziboev's coming down, cutting a little weight. So he'll still have some power there, but Buckley will feel strong in this weight class. Ruziboev might feel a little weak, so I got to lean towards Joaquin Buckley. A guy's got 34 wins. I don't care that he's got 8 losses. Guy's got 34 wins. That's a tough out right there. But listen, I got to go with Buckley. I like Joaquin Buckley to get the win here. Likely by KO to move to 19-6. Welterweight division, UFC St. Louis. Yeah, and I said Terrence McKinney, but I meant Joaquin Buckley. I get them confused sometimes. And I almost surprised myself there because Ruziboev is really good. I mean, that's going to be a good fight. I mean, it could really go either way. And I'm telling you, that audio is hard to listen to. We went through some stuff this past week trying to get the audio right. Finally got there, but that one's tough to listen to. And so is the next one. So apologies for that. But as we creep forward, right, heavyweight division fight. Derrick Louis versus Rodrigo Nascimento. Always important. Nascimento looking to get ranked. Derrick Louis is all-time KO leader, but he's 39 years old. He's getting older. And it's getting tougher. Make no mistake about it. So let's get into that. This fight, main event, heavyweight division, right now. In the heavyweight division at UFC St. Louis, you got Derrick Louis coming in at 27-12, taking on Rodrigo Nascimento, Brazilian, who comes in at 11-1. So American versus Brazilian. Derrick Louis 1 inch taller at 6'3", 39 years old. So over the last few years, obviously, he's starting to get older. We're seeing this in his fights. Nascimento 31, right in the prime. Nascimento 1 inch reach advantage 80 to 79. Both guys stand right-handed. Now, Nascimento has the advantage on the feet in terms of activity, 4.3 significant strikes per minute, 2.4 for Derrick Louis. Nascimento can also go to the ground with like 1 takedown every 3 rounds. Now, as we dig a little bit deeper, the Black Beast, aka Derrick Louis, 53% takedown defense, that's been a problem, but he's got better over the years, for sure. Lost to Jailton Almeida in the last fight by decision. Did beat Marcos Rogerio de Lima by KO. But before that, lost to Sergey Spivak, Sergey Pavlovich, and Tai Tuivasa. So he's lost 4 of the last 5, really slowing down. But still has that KO power that could land at any time. And until you get through him, we really don't know. It's all speculation. Because I don't care if Derrick Louis is 50. If you walk into that punch, you're in trouble. Nascimento's got a 77% takedown defense. He's coming off a lot of wins, 3 wins in a row. He had a no contest against Alan Baldo, and his only loss was to Chris Daukaus by KO. So I don't, stink and go either way, man. He does have in his last 3 fights win over Tanner Boser, split decision. Lear Latifi, split decision. Don'Tale Mayes, unanimous decision. So he did beat Don'Tale Mayes. And boy, this is a tough prediction with a lot on the line. Because you got an aging Derrick Louis that I would say 3 years ago probably beats Nascimento, catches him. Chris Daukaus did. Derrick Louis will, but he's getting older. You have a Nascimento who's getting a little bit better every time we see him. He's going to for the next 2 or 3 years till he peaks out. So it's really, man, this is a really, really tough one. And we haven't performed well in the main event this year. And I'm leaning towards Derrick Louis, but I'm a little nervous about it. Because it's no given, because he's got to land a punch. Like, I don't think Derrick Louis is going to a decision and winning this thing. So I'm banking on he's going to land a punch. Will Nascimento try to take this fight to the ground? If it goes to the ground, still think Derrick Louis will be okay. It's the longevity of the fight. If Nascimento can take this into deep waters, he can potentially win. But I got to go with the Black Beast. Okay, he's not 40 yet, right? And I don't believe he turns 40 before the fight. Although I'm going to peek real quick. Yeah, February 7th. So he just hit 39. All right. He's got to do something the next 2 or 3 fights. Make things happen quickly. I like him to win this. I think Derrick Louis is going to pull it out. Listen, you just got to land a punch. It's real simple. He's going to win, in my opinion, in that fashion. Through the 28-12, Derrick Louis wins. Heavyweight division fight, main event at UFC St. Louis. Yeah, so UFC St. Louis heavyweight division main event. We got Derrick Louis winning, and he's got to land a punch. He's got to land a punch to win. And we're banking on that happening, no doubt about it. Let's go DL. Let's go Derrick Louis. KO leader. Hopefully he gets another KO. That's what I want to see happen. That would make my night. Speaking of heavyweight division, John Jones coming out and reaching out to Alex Pereira. Then coming out and says he has a next fight date with an agreement, basically not anything signed, but alluding to the fact that the Alex Pereira fight would be the biggest fight in MMA history. And didn't I tell you that? This is the way to go if you're John Jones, because you don't want to wait till Alex Pereira gets the fight, then has another 4 or 5 months, right? You're going to give him 6 to 8 months to put on the weight. John Jones knows that he had to take a lot of time off to move up to heavyweight. And if you wait and fight Alex Pereira, it's going to be even worse. Fight him right now while he's probably still going to be 20 or 30 pounds lighter. You got the weight on him and make things happen right now. And it seems like John Jones is waking up to that. Why fight Stipe? Why fight Tom Aspinall? Let's just go Alex Pereira right now. And then the winner of that can face Tom Aspinall. Let Aspinall chill and beat up on somebody like Curtis Blades and go from there. So we'll have to wait and see how this thing. And then you got a fight in England coming up. So Tom Aspinall is probably going to fight Curtis Blades. Let's go Alex Pereira. versus John Jones. Forget Stipe. I mean, come on. Nobody really wants to see that. John Jones is winning that fight all day, every day. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But that's the breaking news. And, you know, it looks like that fight could be coming. I really hope it does. I really hope it does. But for now, this is your boy Chris Cross. As always, I hope you have a great day. And God bless. Peace.